Hey, kia ora, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Big Life Mindset. So today what I wanted to share with you were two things that you can do while you're not working. Now, this isn't just applicable for if you're not working over the Christmas and New Year's holidays. This is really applicable if you've got one day off work. Like if you've got this one day off work, whether it be a weekend or a weekday or whatever, you can do this thing. You can at least get started on this thing. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning both of these is that I have found both of them incredibly powerful in helping me build this life that I want to be living. And depending on your understanding and experience of either happiness or contentment or enrichment, they both have contributed for my life. I think they'll help with yours if that's something that you're looking for. But not only that, like one of them absolutely fires up my day every single day I do it. And the other one is more like this lasting, it's like a residual benefit kind of thing. So the first thing is, before I do, just quickly a reminder, if you're listening on Spotify or my YouTube channel, which is E Rakanui, that's ERAKANUI, then you're able to watch this as well. So, you get a bit of a visual effect. All right. So the first one, and it's no surprise to a lot of people because of the fad that has been going around, is around ice baths. Now, before you go, no, ice baths, already know about this, boring. Yes, it may be boring. Literally, ice, water, cold, that kind of thing, right? It is insane how good having an ice bath is in the morning. Now, if you're managing your way through chronic pain, which Debbie, my wife, is, then she finds it extremely beneficial. Or if you're looking at like a fun activity to do with the kids, once again, this is kind of cool. But if you're all about me, like all about yourself and improving yourself, which is totally fine, then an ice bath is absolutely amazing. With the ice baths, like there's heaps of research around them, right? And with them, they often talk about the effect on inflammation, being able to relax throughout the day, and that's great. My biggest thing that I take away from it is that my brain switches on from 0 to 100 almost immediately. And which is ideal if you're waking up and I'm pre-coffee as well. Like I've tried to substitute coffee with an ice bath as well, and it just does wonders for me. So an ice bath. They call it cold water immersion therapy, I think it's called, but just call it ice bath. Doesn't need a wanky title. But simply, if you're looking at a way to do it, wherever you're listening to this around the world, I'm going to assume you've got some sort of company that does, we call it HelloFresh in New Zealand, or it's one of many, but basically a whole bunch of food gets delivered to your door and it's all pre-packed. You just have to cook it. They tell you what to cook, how many ingredients, which ingredients to use, that kind of thing. Thankfully, in those boxes that they send you as well, they have the ice packs. So if you don't have a HelloFresh, that's absolutely fine. I'm not suggesting you go and buy it either. I'm not plugging them, by the way. I'm simply telling you that they have these ice pack things because it's the ice that you need, right? You need lots of ice. So we just go onto Facebook and then we say, who's got these ice packs? Because everybody has these ice packs and they just throw them away. And so they just fill up freezers everywhere until they get dumped. And so that's the simplest way that I could think of getting my hands on lots and lots of ice. It comes in the pack as well, which is like yay big. Sorry if you can't see it. It's about, I don't know, the width of my head. Must be about a litre, maybe 2 litres of water, about a litre of water in it. And so they're all conveniently packed ready for you. So you don't have to go filling up ice trays and all that stuff. Like smarter is better here, folks. More efficient is definitely smarter. So what we do is we just grab a whole bunch of those ice packs from people and we throw them into the freezers. Now, we're kind of punching a hole in the ozone layer here a wee bit because our house has got 3 fridges. I know, terrible, right? But we've got a lot of bodies in our house and we've got people coming all the time. So, we give ourselves a bit of a pass here. But anyway, there's your ice pack problem, or there's the ice challenge that you have to have, right? You've got to overcome. And then the second thing is where are you going to get into the thing, right? Where is the bath that you're going to get into? Now, I have purchased a rainwater. It's like a small rainwater tank, and it holds about 100 liters, I think. And it's made of like canvas, and it's got these poles that kind of keep it erect and upright, holds its own weight once the water's in there. While it's good, I wouldn't recommend that one. If I was going to revisit this, I would either get a wheelie bin, like a wheelie bin, chuck your rubbish in, put it on the curb, someone picks it up, comes back clean. Or what I saw on this like Joe Rogan clip the other day was it almost looked like a casket, actually, if I'm perfectly honest. But it was a box that was, I would imagine it has polystyrene within it, and then it's sealed to keep it watertight. And then it's also got a lid. And so what that'll do is that means that it keeps the water and the water cold for longer, and it keeps the ice in there as ice for longer, right? So I'd go down that road. But having said that, the thing that we've got is absolutely fine. It's functional. It just means you've got to climb in and climb out, like us, so some small stairs, a ladder. God, this guy talking about the mental acuity of himself, and I can't even speak English. Anywho, so yes, I would strongly recommend ice baths. Now, as I mentioned, it really does help with the top 2 inches. Not only that, as Debbie pointed out this morning, is that you forget about all the other things that are going on in life. You forget about having to take the kids somewhere, or having to go buy something, or emails, or meetings, or all the other stuff. It just disappears instantly. And it gets replaced with a feeling of being present. You are hyper present when you climb into an ice bath. And being present is so important. We all know it's super important. We often struggle with it. But an ice bath will cut through all of that lickety split, and you'll reap all of the benefits of being present, being in that moment, and all the other stuff that I kind of talked to as well. So yes, if you're going to do one thing, today, if it's your day off, or if you're not working, go out and buy a wheelie bin, which you can pick up from your local, big box supplier for like $80. And then even if you only filled it with tap water, like if you filled it with the water out of the hose, it's going to be cold. And that'll be like your first step towards chucking ice in it, and then eventually just having it all iced up, right? Ready for you to rock and roll. Cool. So that's my first plug for the, something that I benefit from, our family benefits from, that I would strongly recommend to other people. And yeah, just watch your game grow, man. It's awesome. The second thing, so that first one is really like that instant gratification. You're going to get that hit. You're going to recognize it straight away as well. The second thing is a much longer burn, and it has, I think, much more powerful, have some more powerful influence on your life and your outlook. And that is a course that I've mentioned a couple of times. Now, it used to be called the Science of Wellbeing, and it's run out of Yale University. It's changed its name, I think, to just Happiness or something now. I don't know what the name is. I'll have to have a look. But if you look for the Science of Wellbeing, you'll find it. In fact, with the power of technology, I can look right here. I mean, this is where are we? Coursera. Yeah, it is. It's called the Science of Wellbeing. There we go. Pat on the back, Ed. So this Science of Wellbeing is a course that I did when I was when New Zealand was in its first level 4 lockdown, and the impact of this thing has just been incredible. Now, I've got to put a little word of a heads up here for people, is that if you're not academically minded and the thought of listening to somebody else lecture is like really unappealing, then it might be a little bit of a struggle, but it's totally worth it. It's totally worth it. Looking at this thing now, so it's on Coursera, Coursera, and it's free. This is crazy. Sometimes the best things in life, right? Um, so the science of well-being. I mean, I'm just looking at it now, and it's got over 4 million people enrolled in this thing. Like from what I understand, it is the most successful course taken out of Yale's 300 years of existence. Like this thing is just a barn burner. It's run by Professor Laurie Santos, and when I did it, which is probably 2 years ago now, it was kind of a mixture of you're watching a video, you're watching a series of videos, and it's her chatting with students and talking about aspects of life like having a good job, earning more money, and the use of social media. And it talks about how we really place too much value on the wrong things that we think will give us happiness. Like those three that I just mentioned, they're often seen as, I'll be really happy if I only get a good job. If I get a good job, man, I'm going to be so much more happier with life. Or if I just earn $100,000 a year, oh, my world is going to be just so much better. I'll be the happy person in happy land, right? But unfortunately, that's not backed up by the science, and it's not backed up by any experience I've had either. And most people I know, when I kind of dive into it, would agree with the same thing. Happiness cannot be found in a bigger paycheck or on social media, funnily enough. So the science of well-being, it really does look at breaking down the misconceptions that people have about happiness. And I'll just read some of this, and the annoying features of the mind that lead us to think the way we do. And then this is some of the research that will help us change. So what I really like about it is somebody else has done all the hard work. I'm a big fan of that. Somebody else go do the hard work. Give me like the super distilled version. Give me the bits that I need, and then I'll take that part. And so that is what this course does. It has been it was refreshing in that I learned a lot, but it also reinforced a lot of what we already know. So I often talk about the gratitude exercise, where you write down 3 things that you're grateful for. My favorite one, and the one I find makes so much sense in my life, is when I eat something. So when I take that first bite, I like to close my eyes and just be grateful for the fact that I'm eating food. And I sit on that, and I just let that happen. And I just let that sensation of gratitude that I feel for being able to eat food, I just rest with that. I don't rush it. I don't need to. But I just recognize how grateful I can be for that simple act of being able to eat food. Because you turn on the TV, right, and that's not a reality for a lot of people. So that's just one of the many exercises that you can learn through the Science of Wellbeing course. It talks about savoring as well. So that thing that I just did, where I, if you were watching, you would have seen me close my eyes. So that sensation of me closing my eyes and thinking about how grateful I am, or I was when I'm eating food, that prospect of savoring has actually helped me again. It's reminded me of how grateful I am. And so I feel more positive for having done that exercise. So there were 2 right there, right? The first one at the time was the gratitude exercise, like when I'm putting the food in my mouth, I'm so grateful that I've got it. And then just then what you saw was me remembering that moment and casting my mind back to that point in time and having that feeling of positivity, that feeling of goodness again. So gratitude and savoring, those were two exercises that came through quite a bit on that course. Another one that I found, which is a real tearjerker actually, and it is, I've only done it once, and I should and I need to do it more because it is so deep. It was to write a letter to somebody that has had a really big positive influence on your life. It could be brief. It could be over the course of many years. Not the letter, sorry. Like the influence that this person has had on your life. It could have been a brief moment in time, or it could have been over a number of years. And you write this letter, and you just write it from the heart. Try not to overthink it. It's hard to do, but like just let it go. Just let the words flow out. And after you've finished writing the letter, you're happy with where it is. The key bit, and the bit that I would imagine would prove a stumbling block for a lot of people, is you go and see that person, or you video call them, and you read the letter to them. So you don't just send it, don't just send the letter, and you don't just fold it up and stick it under your pillow and think, oh, one day I'm going to send this thing. Like, you take action straight away. Right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this thing a reality. And oh my gosh, it's incredible. It is incredible. So I'll give you the example that I had just to give you some sort of context. My auntie, who lived with us until she passed away about 3 years ago now. So she was this incredibly strong, confident woman in her lifetime. And, she was always there for me. She was just always just like the omnipresent force of nature as well. And then she got cancer. And when she became palliative, or prior to that, sorry, she was getting treatment for the cancer. We moved her into our home. We moved her into, well, for a little bit of the time, she lived in this cabin that you can kind of see behind me as well. And so she lived with us, and we provided her with end-of-life care. Now, during that time, I did the course, and Professor Santos, Dr. Santos, Laurie, I don't know, she, from the course, the Science of Wellbeing course, had talked about writing this letter. Okay, I'll do this. I was getting into the course. Okay. And so I wrote this letter to my auntie, which I'm not going to read to you. But I wrote this letter, and I talked about the impact that my auntie had had on my life. And, she'd helped with our wedding. She'd wiped my nose when I was a little kid. Told me off as well when I was being a little pain in the ass. But she was just such a positive influence on my life. And so I wanted to capture that. I wanted to let her know. And the act of writing it down really crystallized a lot of what I was thinking, but had never really put words to. And so I sat down and I wrote this letter, and I actually had to have a couple of goes at it now that I think back on it. Partly because I was just upset while I was writing it. You could go as deep with the letter as you want, be as revealing as you want, be as closed up as you want. But I found, I guess, the therapeutic aspect of it was when I was just being really honest with myself and being really honest with her, and letting her know, these moments in time that I'd had where she'd helped, or I just felt her love, or she had stepped in and intervened in a situation because it was getting out of control. So I did that, and then I read her the letter, and man, when you do this thing, take a box of tissues because it is a tearjerker. In my experience, it really was. So it's this moment where you get to just let down our guard. We're always guarded, right? We're always worried about what the other person's going to be saying or thinking. Um, and I guess one of my only regrets, if I had a regret about it, was that I didn't do it sooner. I kind of, it would have been nice giving it to her 10 years ago. But having said that, I'm glad I did it anyway. So, yeah, try not to wait until a significant life or cataclysmic event happens. You can do this today. You can actually start writing this letter to somebody today. But if you look further up that the hierarchy of things, the Science of Wellbeing course has made a long-lasting impact on my life, and for the better. I would strongly recommend it to anybody, and I do. I recommend it to anybody and everybody. Like I said, there are some challenges if you're not that way inclined with doing a course or whatnot. But my experience of that course was that it was just so packed full of gems that helped me just kind of correct some of the thinking again. It acted like a little bit of, when you go 10-pin bowling and they have those like buffer things down the side, just kind of acted like that. It's like, actually, those things on to the far right, to the far left, those aren't actually useful. Those aren't actually going to help you, Eddie. And because I'm a nerd, it was backed by evidence, which was the thing I was looking for, really. I wasn't looking for some sort of Instagram affirmation from somebody who said that they're a certified life coach, which has become just slightly off topic, that has actually become my my joke of the day is when I see these people, and I do apologize actually if you're one of these people that they have a certified life coach as a lead-in. Like, I just anyhow, I shouldn't do it. Putting down other people is not a good way to build your happiness, folks. It's certainly not sustainable, and it's not healthy either. All right, so two things I would strongly recommend you do. One is do the ice baths. You can literally go out today and sort this thing out within an hour. Let's say 2 hours. You could have gone to the shop, got a wheelie bin, taken it home, filled it up with water from the hose, and jumped in it. And you're going to feel a difference. You're going to notice a difference. The second one, which takes a little bit longer to do, but like I said, the residual benefits flow on forever, is to sign up to the Science of Wellbeing course on Coursera. It's out of Yale, and it's by Professor Laurie Santos. And that has been just such a big thing in my life. It is incredible, and I cannot thank her and the people enough that have got involved in it. I'm not paid to say this shit, man. I'm just recommending it because it's really good. And yes, as always, please remember to click follow and subscribe. And if you're watching or listening to this on Spotify, I do appreciate it if you review this. Give it the 5-star treatment. I'll be eternally thankful for that. And also, you can book me as a coach or a speaker. You'll find a link to my Calendly invites in the show notes. And from there, I look forward to catching up and helping you out. Cool beans. All right, well, that'll do us for now. Short and sharp. I hope you all have had a wonderful Christmas and New Year's. And if you listen to this much later on, then, man, rock on, keep doing your thing. Try and carve out some space so that you can be uncomfortable and grow, and you can find that inside an ice bar. All right, ka kite. Bye for now.